All right, welcome to episode 28 of the Flag Stays Down podcast, and a special welcome to anyone who's going to join us on Twitch. For this one, it's our first live stream pod. So pardon all the stuttering, all the huhs and all that good stuff. But like I said, we are on episode 28. We're on the Dave episode, so it's going to be a classic. And boys, I don't really have an intro for this one. I feel like we're just repeating the same stuff every single week. So I'm just going to start with the.
That's fair.
Nice big old sigh of relief, Collins.
6 points. And everything else, I guess, is just kind of off to the side at this point.
It's a big sigh of something. I don't know if it's a relief, but it's a sigh of something.
How's your guys' weekend? What are you guys drinking today?
Well, Collins, I have a lovely gift from you. I am drinking the Slipknot Iowa number 9, and it is fantastic. I've had it many a time and never disappointed. So I have that, and then I have a Belgian honey orange triple as a chaser from New Belgium. It's quite good.
Solid. Parker, how about you?
I am at the bottom of 2 bottles. I know that's a common theme, Collins. I know you're kind of in a similar boat. So I've got the Whistle Pig 10 and the Jura single malt Scotch, the Jura Journey. So we'll get through those tonight, and I think it's a fitting to kind of just get everything together and just kind of call it a day after our performance. It's been a week, boys. It's kind of exhausting.
Yeah, dude, exhausting 100%. I was just going back and forth with someone on Twitter about the mental challenges of the last couple of weeks, and that's spot on, man. It's exhausting, it's draining, and yeah, we are in the same boat. Because I was looking at the bar cart today and realized that I have 7 bottles and 5 of them have 1 drink left in them. So currently working on the Dovetail. Coming up next on deck is the St. Elmo, and then in the hole we got an actual full bottle. So it's gonna be a good night and a solid pot after dark.
Can't wait.
Cheers.
So we've touched on the ownership stuff a lot. I don't really want to get into that right off the bat here. There's other things going on at the club. A lot of dubs, a lot of 3 points, a lot of goals by Kai Havertz. So that's what I want to start with. We kind of touched on it last week. Is Kai Havertz coming into the form that what we were anticipating when we bought him? And it's certainly looking like big game Kai is here to stay. He's got 3 goals this week, I think.
2 goals and an assist, I think.
There you go, 2 goals and an assist. Regardless, it was a great week out of Kai, especially when we don't have a solid number 9. Kai is fitting in nicely in that role, and I know we've had our ups and downs on this pod with Kai, but I'm curious to get your guys' take on what he's doing different, or how is this happening?
Yeah, I think he was thrown into the role, right? When Timo was out, when Ram was out, he was kind of thrown into it. With Leverkusen, he was more of kind of like that false 9, maybe more of like an attacking mid, kind of behind the striker. But he had freedom to kind of do what he wants, and I feel like that's when he's at his best. Right now, what we're seeing out of Kai, I think we're getting more than what we paid for him. Like I think this run of form that he's in, and I wouldn't even call it a run of form at this point. He has been consistently good for a long time, especially with Chelsea. Obviously, Ram is scrapping to get minutes at this point, which I think is kind of happy, and I think that brings a little bit of joy of relief across all three of us. But I think right now, Kai fits the mold of the creativity that our team is based around. When you have people like Ziyech, you have Mount, you have Christian, you have Jorginho, Kova, Conte, like you have a lot of creative people. And when you're all trying to target one person like Rom, I think that kind of defeats the purpose of what they're good at. So it's not only fact of, Kai being at this ridiculous form right now. I think it's more the fact that he's opening up everybody else to be able to play their best and do what they have to do. So I think that right now, it's Kai's spot. I think even if he has one or two bad games, I don't think you go back to Rom. He's proven himself to be able to score, to come up in very clutch moments. He's doing, everything that we've asked of him and more. And I'm excited to see, what happens going forward, considering he is only 22, 23 years old. So, it's looking more and more promising every single day.
Yeah, I'm laughing over here because we did get a chat in Twitch from my younger brother who happens to be in the room, and I gave Connor a heads up because I told him this was coming, because he was getting on my case that we were all low on Kai for a few months here, and then all of a sudden we're just dick riding Kai left and right, like, oh boy, here it comes. And so I was like, well, man, what do you expect? Like, we gotta call it how we see it a little bit. Like, we're reporting the facts. If Kai's not in form, he's not in form, and boy, has he changed it. And I'm happy to praise someone when he's fucking changed it around. So, the word that came to my mind when I was watching, especially the Norwich match, was fluidity, and it almost, like, Kai's been great, and it's not a slight on him at all, but like, it almost didn't matter who was playing in that position because of the fluid nature around everyone. Everyone was passing, cutting, moving. We were breaking press really well, and then kind of everyone kind of going off. And the Norwich match was fun to watch, and it looked like we could score 8 or 9 goals in that match. So the Newcastle one was a little different. They were a little bit tougher to break on the press, and we weren't able to make those same kinds of runs. But the touch that Kai had on that goal and the confidence to just take it and flip it, that only comes from someone who's in form. And I don't mean to shit on Timo, but Timo had a similar situation. He's in behind the defense. I think he was actually onside, and it hits off of his thigh and it screams out of bounds. And one of the commentators was like, how was he even attempting to do this with his thigh? I don't get it. Like, what were you doing? And Timo, it's such a stark contradiction between the two players right now, just in terms of confidence, form, and what scoring a couple of big goals will do for your confidence and what that means. And I mean, Kai looks ice cold right now. He's playing with a lot of swag. He's playing with a lot of confidence. He just looks like he's the guy up for the challenge, and you love to see it. So to Matt, your point, I think it's consistency, getting him in with the boys and getting kind of that consistent look. I think he's proving, our team right for trusting him, and I think he's proving our managers and Marina and all the people that scouted him correct for who we signed and who we bought. I don't really care anything else besides it. I'm just happy to see it, and I think I hope it continues. I don't know why it wouldn't, but I think when he's playing well and Mount's playing well and Pulisic is playing well and Zeke, throw him in there as well. But when those forwards are cutting off of each other, I think it's pretty special, and it's you start to see like their form kind of take over. So it's happening, man. It's good stuff.
And in our group chat, we have there's a certain set of words that's used pretty consistently, and we've been using them on Kai a lot. Swag, sexy, just that kind of general type of word. And that's how he's been playing. And his link up with Mason Mount today, and we've been ragging on Mace a lot over the last couple months, but his link up play the last couple matches with Mace has been really good. yeah, I think that's kind of gone under the radar there is how well he's been playing with Mason Mount. If you look at 2022 alone for Kai Havertz, and it's 12 games played, 10 of those starts, 7 goals, 2 assists, which is it's fantastic. It's amazing. But even on top of that, you look at what he's doing besides scoring and assisting. And he's got 5 yellow cards as well. And I think kind of counterintuitive there. I think that's also part of it because we've seen a lot more aggressive Kai over the last couple of weeks. You go back to the Liverpool match where him and TAA are getting after it. And Will fucking Harvey Elliott comes in and, Kai just laughs at him. We saw it today with the, throwing the bow and then Byrne comes after him. Like, oh, okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But, just gets up after claiming a head injury, like, oh, I'm fine. Now I'm going to come after you. And Kai's like, no. Like, we're good. I like what we're seeing out of Kai Havertz. What we're seeing out of him is what we expected out of Rob at the beginning of the year. He is causing distractions. He is in defenders' heads, living rent free. And honestly, he's pulling people away from our other attackers and kind of freeing himself up. So all the props to Kai. It just, I feel like he's flying a little bit under the radar because he will always be associated with Timo Werner because they came in under the same window. They're both German, and Timo at this point is kind of dragging him down a little bit. So just need to.
So one additional thing is, we talked about it. I think it was probably me specifically that I even said it. Kai was soft. Like when he came in, like he was soft. Like he's losing these headers when he's got 3 or 4 inches on the other guy. Like he's losing these headers. He's not being physical. Oh, we're seeing a lot more of that. We talked about him being relatively slow. I don't know what the hell happened, but he got himself some pace along the way. This is an evolved version of Kai. This is an evolved version, a Premier League version of what we bought. Bundesliga, yeah, you can get away with that. Like, that's fine. You can be technical and still do everything that you want to do. Premier League, that's a different ballgame. And now I think he's starting to own how he's built, right? He's a tall, Parks, we're tall, lanky guys, right? Like we have to adapt to it. And
he's 6'3".
Yeah, like that's the thing is we're probably built the exact same as Kai, but you have to know how to use that. And I think it took him time for him to learn how to use that. And the fact that he's figured it out, I think, is what was basically the key that unlocked, Kobra Kai as we know him, right? Just clinical, just a menace. He's not backing down from anybody. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's what I want out of my forward. I don't care if he's not even a forward by trade. That's what I want out of somebody who is being put in that role. It has a very Diego Costa type feel to it.
And I think people forget that he had COVID twice in the 2 years that he's been at Chelsea. And yeah, I feel like we should make a drinking game out of this every time I reference baseball. But as you guys know, I'm a big White Sox fan, and Yohan Moncada, at the beginning of the pandemic, when they had the shortened season, had COVID at the beginning of the year. He had been the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. He was a MVP, potential MVP candidate. And he came out after recovering from COVID and hit like a $190 for the rest of the year, was complaining that he couldn't run down the baseline because he just couldn't because of the effects of COVID. And I think people forget about that with Kai, that again, to have COVID twice, it's going to slow you down. It's going to hamper you a little bit. So I think what we're seeing now is fully healthy Kai.
Fully healthy Kai. And what really stands out to me in this game, in this Newcastle match, he started at kind of center forward most of the game. He's fluid in his approach where he kind of floats around a little bit, But Ram gets subbed in. Ram goes to center forward. He adjusts, goes on like the right wing, and still scores a goal. Like not in the position he started off in. To me, that always bodes well for you if you can adjust on the fly and make do with the positions that you're handed. And I think Ram actually did a pretty good job of drawing defenders to like the near, because he would kind of do those near corner runs, and then the far corner was wide open. And I know Pulisic got in on one that was close as well when he was on, and it drew people off, and it drew people and frees up someone else. So Cobra motherfucking Kai does it again, and that it's not a big game, right? It's a league game against Newcastle, but it's a big moment to score in the 89th minute in a 0-0, deadlock, especially after I think it was his header that was one of the best chances that we had. It felt like that was our chance to strike, and that was going to be the one chance that we got. That was just my look at the game, I guess. And I was wrong, and I was so happy to be wrong. And I yelled at the screen, and Collins was ahead of me in the stream, and he had the patience to let me see it, and then we got to celebrate together. So it's always hilarious when that happens, when you have a couple streams watching, remotely or whatever. But I lost my mind when I saw that go in. So
I celebrated a half hour later when I actually saw the goal. So
your peacock was on the super delay.
No, my peacock was on the church delay.
All right. Oh, by the way, so if any listener is fancy with apps, knows how to make an app, if you could find a way to sync our peacocks or our messaging, so that way we don't have to pause and celebrate later, I'd appreciate that. So reach out to Parker on that one. It was his idea. But
I don't know why they can't sync up, man. It's technology in 2022, but oh well, here we are.
Blame the Russians. All right. So I do want to turn to one thing that really was bothering me in that first half, and honestly kind of in the second half too. But do we have a better free kick taker than Mason Mount? I mean, every single corner kick was super short, where we can't even play it. His free kicks were to the moon, as they have been over the last couple of weeks. I mean, we got Hakim Ziyech on the pitch and countless others, but why? Why? I guess my question is why? Why Mason Mount? Who would we rather have taking these than Mace?
Well, let me answer it this way. Alonso's on the bench. Chilwell is injured. Reese is out. Ziyech, I don't think at the time was on the pitch. Yeah, you're all right. I know I'm gonna get backlash for this. I don't trust Jorginho with a ball in from a spot kick that close. I know he had a beautiful ball in the Kai. I'm not doubting that, but I don't trust him off a spot kick. I sure as shit don't trust N'Golo Kante. As much as I love Kova, I don't even trust him off that. At that point, who else is left? You're not going to take Kai out of there because he's your tallest attacker going forward. You have Rudy, you have Trev, you have Christensen that are all getting into the box. Who else do you have? It's the best option given what's out there on the pitch.
Well, I'm gonna correct you for just a minute. Hakim Ziyech also started the match, so he was also out there.
So I will caveat that and say it depends on where the free kick is taken from. Do you want an in swinger or an out swinger? In certain situations, you'll probably want an in swinger. Especially if it's on the left side of the pitch, you'll probably want an in swinger. If it's on the opposite side of the pitch, you're definitely going to want Ziyech to throw a ball in for that in swinger. So we hear it a lot, especially in commentary, like, where's it lined up? Who's lined up to take it? Like, who do we want in this position? Unfortunately, most of like the dead ball situations, if Mace is out there, he's going to take a decent amount of them especially if they're on the left side.
I just think that's a bad option. Like,
I
I just wish he was. I just wish he was better at it. Like, I agree.
I didn't say it was a good option. I just
I'm
said
not disagreeing with you.
that's
I'm not
that's kind of our
disagreeing.
only option.
It is, and it's unfortunate. The thought in my mind when I was watching the game is, why are we not very dangerous from these? Everyone else, like, if we're playing a not great team, if we're playing like a League One or a championship team, and they get a free kick in those situations, I hold my breath, like, because that's one of their best opportunities to score. And you know what? They come really freaking close to scoring a lot of the times. They put really good balls in, and maybe it's drilled in a little bit more or something, but damn it, we're Premier League side. We're a top 3 club in the Premier League. We won the Champions League. We're champions of the world. See, we're champions of the world, says the patch. And we can't get a relatively consistent guy to put balls in dangerous situations. Like, it's frustrating. It would be like if our spot taker missed 60% of the time. It's a skill that a club like Chelsea should be better at. And I don't know why we're not very dangerous at them. Even like Ziyech's much more threatening. Alonso's more threatening. I liked Mace's attempt on goal, even though it missed or hit side netting or whatever. I liked it. I thought it was aggressive and close. He didn't miss by much, but I just like, I feel like we're better at going from goal in a lot of those free kick situations. I don't think we're good at setting people up, or more of like the scripted set pieces from those situations. And that's just like training ground stuff that I think we could be better at on a more week-to-week basis.
And so, Parks, one additional thing is, like, most of the balls that are whipped in, they come from the wing backs. Your Alonsos, your Reeses, your Daves, your Chills. Like, you don't see Mace whipping a ton of balls across the box, so it's not really his forte. At the time, he's probably situationally, he's probably the most technical that can whip a ball in from that spot, depending on who's on the pitch. And I think that's kind of what we're faced with, because, you know, like I said, Kai's got to be in the box. Rom would have to be in the box. All your center backs have to be in the box. And today we had, you know, Trev, Christensen, Rudy, Malang Sarr. I don't trust him to cross a ball in the box.
He would be ideal. He'd be the right person if he was better at it, right? Like,
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, depending on what you have out there, he was the lesser of all the evils that you had out there. So that's, you kind of have to go off that. But I do agree, like, it has to be better. And I think we even talked about this in the Norwich match. I was surprised that we actually scored off a corner.
We look good on all of our corners against Norwich.
Yeah, against one team, that's great. What about everything else where we're just like, oh, it's a corner? Well, this is going to get kicked back out. It's going to be recycled all the way back to Mendy, and then we're going to start all over again. And on the same like premise, we hold our breath anytime the opposition has a corner against us, which we shouldn't, because we have a very good defense, but we still do. Like, it should even out, but it doesn't. Like, we just don't see ourselves as an attacking threat off of corners or off of set pieces, for that matter, in general. So I think it might be a bigger issue at hand.
So that, I understand all of both of your guys' points. I understand 100%. They all compute. They make sense.
Give me the stat.
No stats. No stats here. But it's like, yes, you need, you know, Rudy in the box. You need Rom in the box. You need Kai in the box. But do you really need him in the box if the ball is never getting to the box? If you can't put a ball from a corner into the box, why do you need people in the box? Like, have Kai come and take one short. Have, you know, on a free kick, have Rudiger pull a David Luiz and just blast it. I'd rather have that than Mason Mount send it onto the fucking roof. Like, again, all of those points make sense and I understand them. But that's in the context of like, if the ball's getting in the box. Mason Mount isn't putting it in the box, and he hasn't for a very long time. It's always about 6-7 yards short, and the first defender clears it. So regardless of on a corner specifically, regardless of in swinger or out swinger, why not have Hakim Ziyech take it? You're going to get a good ball out of him. At least the ball's ain't getting in the box, as opposed to, again, skipping to the first defender 10 yards outside the box. I just don't get it. I know that we don't have a lot of free kick specialists, but someone's got to be better than Mason Mount is my thought.
Unfortunately, they're all injured or not on the pitch at the time. So that's unfortunately that's the best we got, which isn't saying much.
Yeah, it's not
Mason's
ideal.
been a lot better. Mason's been a lot better in like link up play and with the ball at his feet, but still got to figure out those corners. He's still got some work to do, man.
Right. Well, speaking of things to figure out, I have one more thing that kind of irked me during the game, and I don't think it just irked just me. I think it was just about everybody. We cannot break the press today. I don't know if Tuchel was not expecting Newcastle to press the way that they were. I mean, we seem, based on the lineup, to be caught a little bit off guard on that. Jorginho and Conte is not a good midfield for that. Rudiger, Chalobah, and Christensen is not a back three that's going to be able to break a press with ease. We know Edward Mendy has his distribution problems, but you're not going to sit him. Is this an issue of Eddie Howe catching Thomas Tuchel by surprise, or is this just kind of the 2 weeks that it's been catching up with the team and we just kind of looked like shit against the press?
Parks?
Yeah, I think it's I think our squad selection was less of we need to optimize our squad to play against Newcastle and more of we are playing every third day. This is game 2 of every 3 days for us. So we played Thursday, Sunday, and then we play again on Wednesday and then again on Saturday. And so it's squad rotation. And I think Tuchel would ideally like to play a back 5 if he can feel the back 5 or 3 with wing backs or however you want to look at it. I think when you have Dave out, Reese out, Chills out, Silva who needs rotation, you got what you got. So we have to play a back 4 in that situation, and then that kind of sets the rest of the lineup for us a little bit. So Kova put in a great shift the other day. We need him later. Like, it's just some of these things just kind of have to happen. I would have liked to see Ruben Loftus-Cheek in there because I think he does well with the ball at his feet under pressure and can help break in certain situations like that. I actually kind of liked him at right wing back. He's been playing more defensively lately, and he provides like a different look there, which is kind of unique. But granted, I don't think Tuchel expected maybe as severe of pressure as he got, but I also don't think he was gaming like that. I think he was more just setting a lineup that's serviceable and can get through it and less tactical, I guess.
It's been a common, to me, it's been a common problem for Chelsea. Other teams have no problem breaking our press. Like, they really don't. But we always struggle with breaking a press, and I don't know why. Even when we have, Jorginho or Kova, like Jorginho, yeah, like he's specialized in trying to be able to break that press and distribute the ball, quick one touch, like back off the pressure. Kova can make the runs to alleviate that pressure, all good and well. To me, it's something that we've always struggled with, and I don't understand why. It's not like it's something new. It's something that we see out of every Premier League club. It's something that we see out of a lot of European clubs. It's something that you almost see damn near worldwide at this point. How are we constantly struggling to break it? Like, how do we always look the most flustered in those situations where our opposition looks calm in those situations? I don't get it. It's something that I think needs work. And again, yeah, we didn't have our like top of the top, defensive line out there, but still, Christensen, he knows what the hell he's doing. Trev has been playing enough, especially first team. He knows what the hell he should be doing. Rudy damn sure knows what he's doing. Sar, you could give a little bit of a meh to, considering he's playing that left wing back position. But at the same time, the system doesn't change. And we've talked about this numerous times. If you know the system does not change. You do your job. And it seems like as soon as somebody goes out of position or the lineup isn't exactly what it should be, all hell breaks loose. And I don't know why that is. Right? If Tuchel's playing the same system, like he's playing his whatever we want to call it, a 5-3-2 or whatever, or some influx of that. It's all the same. The passing routes are going to be the same. You know where people are going to be. I just think that there is almost like a lack of trust on the defense to a certain extent when Thiago Silva's not there. You need that leader, that like dictator, be like, here's where things are going to go. If you need me, yes, I'll be able to take care of what I need to. We saw it in the Norwich match, right? He was getting pressured. He stepped up and then he cleared out space. You're not going to see that out of Christensen and Trev. Like they're just not at that level yet. Rudy, obviously, we all love the Rudy run. Hashtag. And he can do it. Like there's no issue with him doing it, but you just don't see it enough. And I kind of struggle with the fact that it's always tougher for us to break the press than it is for other teams to break our press.
You guys bring up some interesting points, and Matt specifically there, where the system doesn't change. And we do press. We don't press well, but we do press. So you'd think that the guys are used to it in training and all of that. But the more I think about it, the more I think that it's just this week is just a mind fuck for the team, because we have looked awful, more than usual, against the press this week. And yeah, Thiago Silva's not out there. What you said about having that leadership out there, absolutely. Rudiger's runs break the press. I think he does a great job of that. Christensen is soft. Honestly, that's his problem. He's soft. He can't break a press because he's afraid of contact, just like Timo Werner. And Timo Werner, I think, is actually the source of us not being able to break the press. The dude, again, talk about soft, talk about avoiding pressure, avoiding contact. He's the fastest man on the pitch. And so he's supposed to be the one who can break these presses. He's supposed to be the one who can get in behind and do all that. And he did a couple times today. He did a great job of making the run, but then he heard the footsteps and then he stopped. And then it was a turnover. It happened too many times. And we're seeing it more and more and more out of Timo Werner. Yes, he gets the standing ovations every time he's subbed off. And, yes, he's a fan favorite. And we love him on this pod. We've said it multiple times. We love Timo's effort and all that. But in the last couple of weeks, there has been a decline in the amount of what he is willing to do to get the ball. And I think that it's harming the team, because then you don't have that outlet. It's not like we didn't have Ram as the target person. Kai's not a target guy. So you have to send these balls deep. You got to send them for guys making runs. We know Zeke's not going to make a run because Zeke's the guy who's going to be shooting that ball upfield. Kai Havertz, yes, can get into space, and he did. And then Timo Werner is your other one. And you just eliminated yourself as an option right there because you repeatedly hit the brakes as soon as you hear footsteps. But I don't really know where I was going with that other than like Timo Werner is fucking us over here. But
I kind of know where you were going, and I as always I can kind of combat that. If you look at, and obviously Collins, you're the sack guy on this whole thing. I'm not. But just going back on all the matches and everything like that, Timo hasn't gotten a lot of calls, and I'm not talking about offsides. We know he's offsides. You know, the German the German Murata, right? But it to me it seems like he's kind of trying to adjust to like, am I going to get this call if I go full bore and try and get this ball? Am I going to go full bore and then all of a sudden, no, nothing, like nothing's going to happen out of it? I mean, that has to play into somebody's mind, right? Like it really does. So I think that there's a little bit of that. I do think that he is coming into that he's kind of starting to accept his role a little bit more as far as like
role as what?
As kind of like a sub off the bench.
Okay.
And not going to be like an everyday starter. I think he's kind of trying to figure that out too, because right when he was with Leipzig,
bang, Leipzig.
Yeah, like number one on the team sheet, right? Like he was always number one on the team sheet. Now he's trying to fight for a spot, and he's getting rotation, and because other people are tired or just squad rotation, I think he's trying to figure out that role and figure out like what he can do. And I think when you look at all of that, the fact that he's not getting like normal calls, even all three of us have said like, where's the call on that? Like it should have been a foul. Like, you know, at that point, how much running can you really do? How much contact can you really take until it actually, you know, determines an outcome that's favorable? And I personally think that he's struggling with that, which is the point of why he's soft.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I thought you were talking about the offsides, and I was going to make some smart ass comments about, well, you're not offsides if you get to the ball first. But okay, touche, and all those points are well taken. And dude, he's frustrating. He is easily moved to the most frustrating player on this team. I put up a poll on.
I doubt that.
Hold on. I put up a poll earlier on our Twitter page, and it's still active. You can still go vote on it at Flag Down Pod. Shameless plug. Who do you trust more, Lukaku or Timo Werner? I haven't looked at the results, but they're both. I mean, those are our two big money strikers, and I don't trust either of them. Honestly, if I had to pick between two of them, I'd play with 10 men.
I kind of want to just see where that pod stood, but
I'm trying to look at it right now.
Yeah, I voted in it. I know what it was when I voted, but that was way early.
Was that today?
Yeah, it was today.
Well, if it honestly,
yeah, it's six votes, all for Romelu Lukaku.
I rest my case. Because
who do you trust more, Rom or Timo? And everyone says Rom.
In what situation?
Just trust more. Who do you trust more?
Timo.
I trust Rom.
I trust, and that's where I asked the question. Like when you say who do you trust more to score a goal, I would say Rom. To be a model of consistency, I would say Timo.
In what?
You know what you're going to get out of Timo. You're going to get about 3 or 4 offsides. You're going to get one spoiled chance. You at least know that he's going to cause some sort of chaos, right? Even if it's not like for his own stats, you know he's going to cause some sort of problem. You know he's going to pull defenders. You know he's going to at least make those runs. Yeah, I trust what I'm getting out of Timo consistently versus what I'm getting out of Rom consistently.
Collins, for the update, there are 6 votes on the poll, all of which are Rom. Self-included. I voted for Rom on that poll.
Still here.
The reason, yeah, the reason I voted for Rom is because the expected value for me is poor from both of them, and then one of them gives rare upside, and that's Rom. I haven't seen the upside from Timo yet. I haven't seen that breakthrough moment. Two really quick points. One, it becomes really when Mace and Kai are gelling the way that they did against Norwich, Timo looked just completely lost, and he looked completely like the odd man out in that threesome. And you're just watching it like, oh, look at this again. It was those two, and the third leg of that stool just consistently wasn't there, or messed it up, or wasn't great. And the second point is, in the Liverpool penalty shootout, he was 8th to take a penalty out of your big name striker. That says something to me. That says something to me about confidence. It says something to me about form. He didn't look comfortable. And I know he wasn't the only one that didn't look comfortable taking a penalty, but I would really, really expect him to be in the first 5 if he's going to be a winger striker type player.
He's not a striker anymore. As much as like that's what he's billed as, like he is not a striker anymore. He is a winger. And I know for Leipzig, yeah, he was their striker. Like he scored a shit ton of goals. Like I get that. That is not his place anymore. I don't think there is any team in the Premier League where he would be your day in, day out striker. I really don't. I think he is more of a winger, and I think that's where his best role is.
Here's the problem, because you're spot on. He's not a striker anymore. I think we have too many guys playing the same position. I don't know if Timo's a winger. He doesn't look fully comfortable there, but I think he's a guy who, that second forward, somebody who sits behind a striker. Kind of like what Clint Dempsey did behind, or Landon Donovan did behind Josie Altidore, kind of being that again, the support striker. But I think that's Pulisic's best position. I think that's Kai Havertz's best position. I think that's Mason Mount's best position. I think that's Timo Werner's best position. And we don't play a system that has that. We saw it today a little bit with Mason Mount. He was kind of floating wherever he wanted to go. We saw it a little bit against Norwich. I believe it was Havertz was doing that. But all in all, we don't play that system. And I think that's part of the problem is you got 4 guys fighting for a position that doesn't exist.
You've also got, so I kind of agree with you. I think that I kind of agree. I understand where he's coming from. Let's put it that way. I think that you have 4 guys that are very free form, right? They're not like designated. You are a striker. You are a left wing. You are a right wing. Like they're very free flowing people. And I think that what we've seen lately is that Tuchel is giving a little bit more freedom. Like we've seen it probably in the last month and a half, 2 months. At halftime, he's switching the wingers on different sides of the pitch. So they can play either side. I just think that now we're starting to kind of unlock that freedom that they need to thrive. And so for me, it's tough to like designate them like where's their best fit? What position? They're very, and I don't want this to sound like a comparison, but in like their mindset and how they operate, they're very Eden Hazard, right? They're very free flowing. You get into the spaces that are necessary, and then you operate off of that. I think that we have 4 people very much like that. Timo is more you're getting behind. You look at, Mace, you look at Christian, even Ziyech at times, Kai, like they need room to operate. They need a free flowing, not just like in a system. You operate between this line and this line. You don't go past here. Like they need just more free flowing opportunities. And I think we're seeing more of that. And I think that's what's making everything kind of thrive.
Totally agree with that statement, Matt. I think that's the free flow nature, and they're playing off each other is what's opening things up. And I think that's when they're at their most creative and scoring goals. And again, to my earlier points, like it doesn't even matter who it is finishing it, because it's sort of this team atmosphere kind of creating it, which is helpful. My last point on Timo, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, is I think his biggest strength is getting in behind defenses. But what happens after that is where I really have an issue, because I don't trust him to put a ball in, and I don't trust him to score. And so those runs kind of just get wasted. And I guess like a ground cross is probably his biggest strength, where like a cutback ground cross that kind of makes its way to the top of the box. It's probably his best move out of that, but you also need to be a threat to goal, and you need to be able to put a cross in to a streaking Rom or a streaking Kai or someone else too. So that's just my biggest kind of criticism with him is when he gets it, when he's not offside, what does he do with it? And it's just nothing great comes of those situations. And I think one of my like biggest, frustrating moments is that happens. It's a great run. He pulls up, and then we recycle back out. It's like, cool. Now we're slow building, and we get to play, very slow, boring, not creative soccer for 6 minutes, and it leads to not much. So that's my biggest frustration with him as a player. But your points are well taken and well said. So I can be done with Timo for a while.
Well, one other thing, who's catching up with him? Right? Like if he's behind the defense, Kai is probably not going to be there, because like Timo's so quick. Who else is going to be there for that ball coming in across and for that trailer, things like that? So that makes it tough. But no, I completely agree.
Collins, reroute this train, man. We're
All right. Well, you know what, dude? It's been so refreshing just to actually talk football. But I'm sorry, guys. I have to. We're a Chelsea podcast, and I have to. We're not going to talk about the sanctions. We're not going to talk about Abramovich, because that would honestly turn into another fucking 4-hour pod at this point. So just a real quick rundown of what the sanctions are. We're not allowed to buy players, sell players, re-sign current players for some fucking god-awful reason. Can't sell merch, so hope you got your Megastore order in. It probably will still take you 4 weeks to get it. Shout out to the Megastore for not having quick turnaround times. You can't sell new tickets, season ticket holders only. Apparently all the banks have frozen our corporate accounts and corporate credit cards. So apparently there's going to be a change to the license in the coming week in regards to the sale of the club, and hopefully as well as to re-signing players, because we need to sign Azpilicueta and Rudiger ASAP. But the government's looking to move forward with the sale. So just out of the people we've heard, Nick Candy, Boley, Vice, Saudi Media, what are you guys looking for an owner? Who do you hope takes over as an owner? I'll start because I see you guys are.
Please do.
I know it's the unpopular opinion. I don't want Saudi media for a whole mess of reasons. Why would the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia want a private company from within their country to do better than them? Talking about Newcastle's owners and our potential owners. And also
you can hear the rest of that argument on Pod After Dark.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot to say about that. The owner of Fanatics is out. Woody Johnson. But fuck it. I don't want the owner of the Jets to own Chelsea. Are you kidding me? Ricketts. I don't want the owner of the Cubs to own Chelsea. Are you kidding me? I want Boley and Vice. Boley, part owner of the Dodgers, who consistently have the top 3 payroll in all of baseball year in and year out. Vice, who is a Swiss billionaire, so his money is protected. I don't care if our owner is a Chelsea fan. Roman was not a Chelsea fan when he came in. Roman's first offer was to Spurs, and they turned him down. So, get the fuck out of here, Spurs. I like Boley. I know a lot of Chelsea fans have reservations towards American owners, but this is an American owner who loves to win and will spend money to win. And I think that's what's going to be crucial to keeping this run alive.
I don't have much to say, Collins. I feel like I'm still in stage 2 of grief here. I haven't accepted that we're losing our owner, even though I know we are. Someone tweeted a picture of Leo in the Wolf of Wall Street that said the show goes on, and I said back to him, I really wish it could be like, I'm not fucking leaving. I wish he came out and said, I'm not leaving. You'll have to scrape my ass on the way out, kind of a thing. But it's not happening. But I'm not there yet. And I know that the next owner isn't going to be Roman, and there are very few people on this planet that can run a club for fun, play fantasy football in real life, where money doesn't really matter, and it's just pure enjoyment of seeing, trying to build something and having your team go out there and compete and try to win. And Roman's unique in that aspect, and I don't think we're going to find another one of those. So it sucks. Like, everything feels like a step down. I don't feel like you can take a step up. So yeah, you're asking me to pick out my next wife, man, and I want the one I got still, and I'm not ready for a new wife.
Well, I would hope so.
Is your wife there? Blink twice if you're in danger.
Blink twice if you're in Milwaukee. Oh wait.
All right.
And Collins, you brought up the great point, is American ownership in a Premier League club. I have my skepticisms about it. Boley, yeah, he's part of the Dodgers, but he's also part of the Rams, if I remember correctly, the LA Rams, NFL. He's also a part of that. So where's his money going to go towards? That would be my biggest question. Yeah, I'm sure he's got money to spend, and as partner, they can do whatever. But when push comes to shove, right? Are you going to try and pump more into US franchises versus overseas franchises? Obviously, it's going to be a lot more to go overseas, so I would hope that it would be focused there. But then, is he willing to accept the hit when it comes to, MLB and NFL contracts, especially when the MLB just signed their new CBA agreement? The NFL salary cap just went up yet again, and the Rams just won the Super Bowl, so that they're going to be looking to bring everybody back and splash money there. So there's just a lot of things that concern me about that. Like, do you want to own Chelsea just to own Chelsea? Like, that's my biggest concern. Do you want to be the person that's like, oh yeah, I'm the owner of Chelsea Football Club? I get a little hesitant on that. I mean, we saw what happened with Stan Kroenke. We saw what happened with Ed Woodward. Like, it got old real quick. And I don't want that to happen where, 5-10 years from now, we're having the same conversation of, great, we're getting a new owner. And then we turn into, Newcastle, where it's like, great, we have a new owner. Great, we have another new owner. Whenever I've played FIFA, it's always Newcastle that got a new owner, right? I think they were just poised to get Mike Ashley out of there. But like, there's always something else going on. I don't want Saudi. That's a whole different bag of issues that we'll talk about later on Pod After Dark. Please listen. That's where we go fully unfiltered. So we're actually relatively restrained during this one. But yeah, I think that, I'm definitely a fan of somebody that is a fan of the club, right? Somebody that wants to see the club succeed. But at the end of the day, holistically, you look at somebody who has the best interests of the club in mind. And I think that's where we need to make our decision. It's not about the person. It's not about the conglomerate or the hedge fund or whatever. It's about the club. Whoever has the best interest of the club in mind, that's who we need to go with.
So here's my plea to everyone listening, and it's my plug for Todd Bowley and company. Please go listen to the Bloomberg interview that he did, where he talks about his admiration of the Premier League. He talks about the passion that the fans have. He talks about just the global marketing perspective of the Premier League and what winning in the Premier League means from that standpoint. Yes, again, he may not be a Chelsea fan through and through like Nick Candy, maybe, British billionaire. But Bowley, again, he owns part of the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the highest spending teams in all of the NBA. He owns DraftKings, which is one of the biggest sports books here in all of America. And the Washington Spirit, I guess, is a WNBA team. He owns that as well. But those are his holdings: the Dodgers, Lakers, and the Washington Spirit. And he talks a lot about how he wants to invest in the Premier League because he loves the passion of the fans. He loves the passion and what comes of winning in the Premier League, what comes of winning the Champions League, and all of that. I think he would be an owner supported by Hans-Jörg Weiss, who has buku bucks, somebody who could support bringing in world-class talent across the board, and who would be dedicated to winning. So my plea is for everyone to go watch that interview, because it's a fantastic interview. But Matt, I agree. It's got to be somebody who has the best interest of the club in mind, and I honestly think that Bowley would. I think that Bowley would prioritize winning with this club, and so we'll see what it is. Word is we're going to be sold in anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, so I'm sure we'll be covering it a lot on this pod as we go forward. But boys,
What's interesting to me just really quick, Collins, I'm sorry to cut you off. What I'm interested to get used to is I'm so used to just one guy being the face and the money and the stuff. Now Roman's not making every single day-to-day decision. He's got people in place to do that, and I understand that. However, he was the face, right? Like, and he was everything. So kind of getting used to, like, would Bowley be the guy like who you see in the press box more often, and the guy cheering and the guy clapping, what, you know, rah rah kind of a guy, and then Weiss sort of back end money, like the way you just kind of described it, right? Like, I'm still trying to like get behind what does that look like? How does it visually play out? Because an owner can be like the face of the club, but in some of these kind of conglomerate or multi-investor ownerships, there's a lot of people behind the scenes that you never hear or see of, and that's fine. And they might have a vote, or they might be in meetings or whatever, but we don't care about that because that's not front and center. So it's just an interesting kind of difference that we're not really used to. I feel like most clubs or most situations are probably more geared or apt to dealing with that, and we're just not, because Roman was the face and the checkbook behind it.
You know, maybe we'll have to talk with our good friend Joe Mach about Fenway Sports Group, because I feel like that may be a very similar situation where you've got a handful of investors kind of all piling their money into a group. And Fenway Sports Group is going to be pretty much the same as Bowley. I mean, they own the Penguins, the Red Sox, they own a NASCAR team, and then Liverpool. So, you know, if this Bowley Vice thing comes to fruition, I think we might need to bring our friend Joe Mach on the pod. Just kind of ease some people's thoughts.
And we will gladly accept them.
All right, boys. Well, that is, I think that's it for episode 28. That's it for the Dave episode. And that, you know, just in my initial running this all back in my head, I think this has been as legendary as Dave has been. I think this has been a good conversation today. So, you know, always appreciate you guys coming on and chatting, and you know, we'll go from here as always. But man, I forgot for a minute that we're on Twitch on this one. So let me make all my shameless plugs here. Going forward, Sunday evenings, 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and that's Central American Time, America. We're going to be on twitch.tv. You can follow us at Flag Down Pod. We do have a YouTube channel as well. You can follow us there, again, Flag Down Pod. Feel free to interact with us. I'm the one who runs the account, but we do, you know, I screenshot everything with these boys. So follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, again, at Flag Down Pod. You can find me at Comiskey North. You can find Parker at DJ Parkour. You can find Matt at Matus Lee, all on Twitter. Let's see, what am I missing here? Oh, podcast. We also do that for some weird reason. You can find us Google Podcasts. You can find us iHeartRadio. You can find us Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. Again, just search The Flag Stays Down. If you could please subscribe, rate, and review. Oh man, those reviews, those are like gold. We appreciate them more than you know. So please give us a plug, help us share our bullshit. On that note, boys, another week of Chelsea football, another roller coaster of a week. Let's hope you know, this week is a little bit more of a level path, right?
We hope so. Never thought that 6 points would be so controversial.
And this is why we drink. Cheers, boys.
Amen.
Cheers.
I'm all potted out.